Hi there, I'm Christine Weber. Welcome to my weekly live stream. I love supporting mature yoga teachers, getting their wisdom out there into the world. So today I want to talk about a couple of ways that you can work with folks to help them lengthen their exhale. So the primary tool of pranayama that comes from Patanjali, so 2,000 years ago, is lengthening the exhale. It's in the Yoga Sutra. It's an important tool that everybody has to learn. Well, you don't have to learn it, but it's recommended that you learn it according to Patanjali. And often you'll hear breath work people who aren't necessarily trained in yoga talk about lengthening the exhale as just a sort of solid thing. So you'll hear them say things like, we'll do 4 counts in and 8 counts out. Go ahead, that'll calm you down, or, even often you'll hear 4-4-4 breath, square breath, right? Navy SEAL breathing, they call it, or 4-7-8 breath. Andrew Wiles breathing. You'll hear those kind of combinations as sort of this, I guess you could say, a standard prescription for everybody, but many people can't get there easily. Many people, they start with that kind of a ratio and they kind of instantly go into a trigger or an anxiety response, which is exactly the opposite of what we're going for, right? So first of all, pranayama can be prepared for with asana. And it makes so much sense because you can use the movement to affect how you're breathing, and everything is breathing. Like, people get it so reductive and they're like, oh, you breathe with your diaphragm or belly breathing, whatever. But that is not accurate. Like, there's a lot of accessory muscles of respiration that can be tweaked and can support. And then there's lots of things we can do with the diaphragm too. So anyway, that aside, let's talk about a simple practice. Like, for example, a forward bend, right? So you could take your feet wide, and when you do, and flexion is so important and helpful as you go into flexion, because what happens is you compress the belly, right? Just by the flexion, you're compressing the belly and pushing the breath out, right? So that kind of flexion, or you could be doing, a simple forward bend, a simple flexion like Apanasana, right? Way to push the breath out. Or you could do it in Chakravakasana, tabletop, child's pose, push the breath out, right? And then what you do is you do it progressively. So I'll show it in Chakravakasana. You do it progressively. So it'd be like inhale, exhale, and count to 4. And then inhale back to tabletop, lift your chest and face, exhale, count to 5. And pulling the belly in, but also using your legs to help push the breath out and the position. Right. So then you could keep doing that 6, 7, 8. And then once you get there comfortably, you get to 8 comfortably, then you can be like 8, do it again, 8, do it again, 8, and then you ask someone to sit and do 4 counts in and 8 counts out. And it's like easy because you prepared the body for it. You prepared the respiratory structures for it. You prepared the back, you prepared everything, and the lungs, you prepared everything by using the progressive getting into it. And it's quite different than just sitting and progressively getting to the exhale. It's really different. So the 2 categories of poses that are really useful for this are forward bends and twists. So twists, a little bit more, I guess you could say complicated, partly because they're highly asymmetrical. And they don't go in the beginning of a practice because of that asymmetry and because of the potential risk, especially if somebody's got something going on in their back. The myofascia is not happy, it's grumpy, it's speaking to them, So there's simpler twists you can do also. But, if you want to know more about sequencing, I'm the person. like I'm super into sequencing for the nervous system. So, and it's not choreography, but anyway, that's another story. Anyway, so like this kind of a twist, right? Inhale and then hand to the chest. And just concentrating here. It's a little bit harder than that because I'm not using my leg, right? If you were ready, when you're ready to do something like Matsyendra asana, where you're really using the leg to push the breath out, that works really well too. But again, those tend to be at the end of a practice. Simpler twists at the beginning are okay. And like a supine twist can be really good too. I also tend to put that towards the end for various reasons. Okay, so anyway, the twists and the forward bends helping us get the exhale longer, right? Great. Now you will also encounter people, inevitably, you will encounter people that don't like counting at all. It's inevitable. I've worked with, in all of the hundreds and really thousands of students I've worked with over the years, there's plenty of people that do not want to do counting. They don't like it. So what do you do for those people? Well, now we've got something really interesting to add. So instead, I'm going to go back to the mat. So instead of using numbers internally, you can use sound externally. So inhale, exhale with like a hum, maybe. Like a little brummery. And here, I'm not going to worry about the progressive lengthening, because if somebody doesn't want to count, that like there's already something going on that's dysregulating their nervous system. So I'm just going to be like, hum till it's comfortable. Like enjoy the hum. And some people might want to om. They might like that better. In general, if we can keep the pitch a little lower, the lower pitch tends to have more of that down regulating effect. So that's good for anxiety. Everybody's stressed out as anything right now. So that can work. An om sound can work. You can use other mantras too. Any kind of sound that feels really natural to the person and feels like something that they are comfortable with, right? Because for some people, like even an om feels uncomfortable to them. So maybe a humming sound is better. And then what you're getting out of that, in addition to the wonderful, forward bends are really powerful in terms of down-regulating the nervous system, partly because they help you exhale, but also a lot of them are like a standing forward bend. You're getting the baroreceptors in the heart and the carotid artery to change the blood pressure and down-regulate. There's signals being sent because of that lengthening of the exhale from the stretch receptors in your lungs to the medulla, back to the sinoatrial node in your heart to like lower the heartbeat. So everything is going in that right direction. And then you put on top of it a sound, and the vagal afferents in the throat get stimulated and help also take the nervous system down. So it's like this extra special icing on top of the asana. All of that before sitting and doing breath work, it just changes everything. If you are interested in breath work, by the way, I have 2 courses. One's called Subtle Yoga Breathwork Foundation. The other one is called Subtle Yoga Breathwork Threshold. And they're really, really good courses to help you learn about this stuff in a deeper way. You can check out, I think they're on my website, but if you don't find them, just send us we're redoing the website. If you don't find them, just, feel free to send us a message or an email, support@Subtle Yoga, and we can help you find those courses. But like, this is where I really download the stuff in a deeper way. I can't really do it in 10-minute, YouTube videos. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. I hope this is helpful for you. Let me know leave a comment and let me know what else you'd like me to talk about in my live streams. I'll see you next week. Bye.